This is Alison Bick. She's an illustrator, digital designer, and Etsy team captain. She works from her home studio in Newquay, which she shares with her partner Peter and dog Rufus. Her own work is inspired by her surroundings, her local history, and in particular, the sea and surf life of Cornwall. When she's not designing, she is busy organising Etsy meetups, fairs and workshops, and talking and sharing advice with other Etsy sellers. Today I chat with her about running a business, being an Etsy team captain, and the importance of not listening to the voices that say you're not good enough. I'm Mel Chadwick. This is episode 4. Welcome to Creative Conversations. Today I have the lovely Alison Bick here with me. Welcome, Alison.
Hello, hi.
So let's talk about you and your business. What do you do?
I sell illustrated products like homewares, prints and greeting cards, and I also organise events like Etsy meetups and workshops.
Brilliant. And when did you start doing this?
Well, in 2014, when both my children had gone off to university and left home, I had that classic empty nester, like, what am I going to do now? And I was working as a web designer, and I wasn't enjoying it particularly. Instead of using Illustrator to create other people's logos, I started doing my own illustrations and putting them onto things.
Brilliant.
And people actually wanted to buy them, which was amazing. So I did my first fair at Outlaw in 2014. I think you did
I was
that
there
as well.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I did a business startup workshop with Outset Cornwall.
Okay.
Which was...
And was that really helpful to giving you advice and support?
Yes, because I didn't know anything about running your own business.
Yeah.
And they sort of talk you through how to write a business plan, how to apply for a startup loan, how to manage your finances, working out who your customer are. But it's because... that's quite you might be creating this most beautiful thing, but if you haven't got somebody who wants to buy it, then you're sort of stuck in the water with it, really.
So you sell online a lot of your products, don't you, as well as doing kind of fairs?
Yes.
And in particular, you've organised like an Etsy fair, haven't you?
Yes.
Every year. When did you start doing that?
I've done 2 now.
Yeah.
So in 2016, we people who sell on Etsy had an email that went round saying they were looking for local teams who would be prepared to organise Etsy made local fairs. So it's an initiative that Etsy has. They sponsor, but we organise everything. And they help local Etsy teams all around the country to put on a fair which takes place at a specific weekend every year, and that seems to be so far the first weekend of December.
Yeah, it's a good time, isn't it? Because it's the Christmas season, and you know you can pull on all of those customers who are looking for like a handcrafted gift or something a little bit different,
special. Yeah, that's right. And so there were 8 of us initially on the organising team, and we looked at various venues, because in Cornwall you have such a choice of where where to put something on, and the Guildhall in St Ives.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. The 2 fairs have been so successful.
Yeah.
I think it's very clever of Etsy because they haven't spent loads of money on TV adverts, but they've spent money on helping get the name of Etsy out to all different parts of the country, like through the sellers themselves.
Yeah, and
they're really big on building up communities, not just online,
yeah,
but
in real life.
Yeah,
but I guess that's where they want you to actually prosper, isn't it? And to build those networks.
Yes.
That's going to help your business.
Yes, that's right. We've got a wealth of creative businesses down here working by themselves in their shed or their back bedroom, whatever. And I think it's lovely that we get together and have a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And also what's really good is to make some of those meetups have a purpose.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been trying to build that up. Obviously, because it's unpaid, I have to fit it in around trying to make some money. What I really loved about all the fairs that we've done in the past is that community getting to get, if they are quiet, you chat to your stallholders, and I've met so many fantastic people through just talking to everybody at these fairs.
And I think that's the really good benefit of actually doing a fair. I mean, I've done a lot of fairs, but what I've really enjoyed is actually meeting the other makers. Like yourselves and like other people that I've already spoken to. Is actually connecting with them.
Yes, exactly.
And knowing that you're kind of all in the same boat,
Yes.
You're not on your own.
No, that's exactly right. And it's also for me, working previously as a web designer, the people that I worked with were young guys who I had nothing against them, but I had nothing in common with them. So now I'm meeting people that I just have you have that common interest, don't you?
And you want to kind of, grow your business. And you want to get better at dealing with all aspects of your business. And that's one thing I've noticed that you do as well is actually put on workshops which help develop those sides of the business. Like, I think you've recently done a photography workshop where you invited Yashin down. And he helped people style their photos for their shops, and you've also done one on copyright.
That's right.
Law, and I think Instagram as well.
Yes, that's right. So social media.
Is this kind of like what you feel that's where you want to grow that side of your business is helping other businesses? And
yes. At the Etsy Captain Summit, I also met Becca Griffin, who's like an Etsy whiz. She sells reviews on her Etsy shop, and I've paid for her to review my Etsy shop to help me because it's all about SEO. And it's so complicated. And I thought my shop was okay, but she sent me a 7-page report, which I've been going through. But it definitely made an impact. And also I met Joanne Hawker, who's also set up a Somerset team. And so I'm sort of chatting with them at the moment with a view for them both to come down and do how to improve your Etsy shop and how to, make more of Instagram, because obviously that's Joanne did the March Meet the Maker. So it's making those connections as well. The other thing that I'm organising is for Patricia van den Akker from the Design Trust to come down and run one of her one-day marketing workshops. So that's taking place on the 12th of May.
Yeah, that's really good.
At Bedruthen Hotel, because that's a venue that people, makers are familiar with because of the Bedruthen Spring Fair. And they're, they get lunch, and then they get a sort of day with Patricia where if you've ever heard her speak, she's really inspiring, and she just makes you want, when you sort of finish your session with her, you're just like, yes, I'm going to conquer the world.
And that's exactly what you need, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, we can all kind of work on our own little projects and, tootle along, but actually having other people around us and knowing that there's that community we can spur each other on to kind of keep going, but also keep growing as well.
Yes, yeah. So you have to keep developing your business. You have to sort of, it's almost like a suck it and see. Like, does this work? Maybe not. Okay, try something else.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing, it's sort of reinventing and keeping fresh.
Yeah.
And just trying new things.
Yeah.
So I've got into doing, putting my designs onto textiles, because I just want to try, I don't know how long I'll be doing that for, but it's that sort of wanting to do something else, which you were saying earlier on about.
And so Alison's done some lovely work based on belly boarding and surfing and the sea, so we'd love to hear more of that and how that came about.
So my brother Andy Bick makes wooden belly boards.
Right.
And each year the National Trust ran the World Belly Boarding Championships, which took place at Chapel Porth, just outside St Agnes. Andy was one of the sponsors, so one of the prizes was one of his amazing wooden boards. And so I would go down there to support him, and it was just such a lovely, unique event.
Yeah.
No wetsuits were allowed, only vintage swimwear. So, and there was no age limit. So you have people in their 70s and 80s going in with their frilly hats and their swimwear. Normally it always rained, but then the last few years it was really lovely sunshine. There's a photo, I've got it on my back wall there, of my grandparents in their knitted swimwear.
Oh, great.
They grew up in Perranporth, and so all their family, they would be surfing in the sea. And my grandfather's sister married Tom Tremuran, who was the first person to make wooden boards in Cornwall, I think. Yeah. So people were coming over from, it was in between the wars, so people were coming over from South Africa saying, I've seen this wooden board, do you think you could make me one? And he was a builder and an undertaker. So he was like, oh yeah. And I actually read his autobiography that he had written about his life in Perranporth. And there is a bit where these people come in and ask him like about boards. So that just got me thinking about, I just had it in my head, this image of the vintage swimwear, the swimming costumes and the knitted swimming costumes and stripy and the floral hats and rushing into the sea. So then I developed this series of illustrations, which I had initially designed as placemats, but then I just thought, oh, they make really nice prints.
Yeah.
And they've been so popular. They've been my most popular range.
Yeah.
And I've called them after my grandparents. So it's Arthur Roy with the moustache and Olive Augusta with the florally hat. All of my illustrations have that similar story behind them. They have a little, it's either like a family event or I'm really interested in flowers and floral stuff, so that plays a big part of my, in my inspiration as well.
But you can see that, I mean, it's really great to see your designs because they're just so lively and bright and bold, but then actually to hear the story actually gives it even more, and it makes you want to connect with the area. Yes,
I've heard so many stories of people saying, oh, I've got a wooden board in my garage still, or at the Cornwall Design Fair, the last one that they did, this elderly couple came up and immediately bought a framed print, Arthur and Olive, and they said, we've been surfing for 60 years and we're just off with our wooden boards to the beach right now after this. So it's that sort of appeals to all ages that I really love, and that I found a connection with people's history and their memories, and I think that's what people really like about art, isn't it? Doesn't matter how good it is necessarily, but it's that connection
with the past.
Yes, and connecting with it, feeling something in your heart that you connect with that, whatever that piece of art is.
Yeah, and you've seen it yourself and you're like, oh, I really like that. I
Yes.
want to actually show and share that with other people.
Yes, yeah.
And you're right, people will then connect with it, and they will, you know, share their stories, and
yes,
and that makes it even more special, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You know, and I also get inspired by people. There's an artist from the 17th century, 18th century called Mary Delany. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's incredible. She started her artistic career at the age of 70.
Really?
And I just think that's my inspiration. She made these paper, she called them mosaics, but basically they're paper cut collages. So intricate and amazing detail, and the British Museum have them now.
Wow.
And there's like thousands of these. They're all like botanical floral pictures, so like the passion flower, and they're all on really black backgrounds, so they're very graphic. But that was like from 1770 something. And she has a Cornish connection as well, because her first husband was from Cornwall, so she lived in Cornwall for a while. And I think I came across her, reading something, Angie Lewin, you know, the
printmaker.
So she had mentioned that was her, and so I looked. They're incredible, really incredible. So
your plan then for 5 years time?
5 years time. Well, hopefully I'll have built up my business so that it's sustainable and I can sort of make a living from it properly. And just keep. I feel like I'm still at the beginning of my journey, actually, and I've still got a long way to go to making this business sustainable. So it's basically, hopefully, within 5 years, I'd have worked out a way of being able to make some money from it.
So there's no plans, though, for winding down?
No, I'm just not that, I'm just not that type of person. And my mum, bless her, I think she's 75, she's got an incredible amount of energy, and I just think, you know, if I'm like her when I'm 75, then
that's all right.
Pretty good. So yes, keeping finding a sustainable business.
Great. What advice would you give to your younger self?
I would just say, you know, things may be tough, but it won't always be like that, and one day things will get better. And when that opportunity comes up, just grab it and just go for it. And the skills that you've learnt in when you're younger, they won't be wasted, because then they're all my organising skills that I learnt in my 20s are coming into good practice now. And just you will be good enough, and the creative side will come out, and you will meet people that you never knew that exist, and the opportunities will come up that you didn't know existed, and you will eventually find your tribe.
Thank you so much, Alison. It's so encouraging.
Oh, I know. It is tough, you know. People, I don't know one person that hasn't had a tough point at some point in their lives, but it doesn't, no. My mum always used to say, no situation is permanent, and if it is a tough time, it will get better. And it does.
This too will pass, as they say.
Exactly, this too will pass, and you'll find the confidence to believe in yourself. I think that's the hardest thing as a creative people. There's that classic, imposter syndrome that you just think one day somebody's going to find you out, and I always just think that. But I've stopped listening to it. I'm starting to drown it out. Because that, by just getting on and doing it, just ignoring those, that voice.
So I would say then your top tips are just basically keep going, keep persevering, don't give up.
Yeah.
And don't give in to that voice that tells you that you're not good enough and that you can't do it. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Alison.
Oh, that was my pleasure. Yeah. Lovely.
And I'll put all of Alison's links down below so you can go and discover her beautiful, bright work. And also don't forget to check out all of the workshops that she is organising, particularly the one that's coming up in May.
That will be great.
Yeah, will that be on your website?
Yes, I think I've put a link on my website. I've got an events section, and I think I put a link to the form so that people, it just gives a bit more information about it. But Patricia is so inspiring, and I think a lot of makers have her dream planner, and so to meet her in the person, it's great.
Yeah, really good that she's coming down to Cornwall, isn't it? So don't forget to check all of those things out, and we will speak to you again soon for another Creative Conversations. Thanks again for tuning in to this one, and I'll see you again soon, guys. Bye.
Bye. Look all right.
Oh yeah, I think it'll be fine.
God.
Remember, guys, to keep creating, keep making, keep having fun. Please like, subscribe and share with your friends. Let's start then.
And I'm on trend as well.
You're?
Apparently, the Etsy thing, she said that I was... old people, like over 50s, are on trend, and I was like, okay, go on.
If Creative Conversations is something you found useful, you can back the show financially over on my Patreon page. Any money you give will go directly to helping this show grow. This was Creative Conversations, and I'm Mel Chadwick.